Alhaji Adams. The decision follows repeated delays and the absence of the prosecution in court. And so now the trial in his third attempt began after a hung jury. In the second trial, and in that trial, Sabka Alangde was sentenced to death by hanging after being found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder. Now, while the jury returned a hung verdict on the murder charge, Gregory Afoko Mihua faced a hung jury on both the murder and conspiracy charges. As a result, the court ordered a retrial for Gregory Afoko on both charges and for Sabka Alangde on the murder charge. Despite pleas being entered since January 2024 and several witnesses testifying, the case was repeatedly delayed due to multiple adjournments requested by the AG's office. And so on December 1, which is yesterday, during what was approximately the 7th or 8th adjournment, the court noted the absence of the prosecutor again to provide an update. And so in response, to the prosecution's inaction, the presiding judge discharged both accused. And if you follow the news, you would have seen Sabka Alangde, at court jubilating. Solomon, what do you make of this? This case adds to other cases that have been dismissed, that the minority, the largest minority party, I should say, MP, has said that it is the government of the day is bidding to rid of, people who are associated with it from crimes they committed.
So first of all, Gregory Afoko together with the accomplice Alangde were arrested in 2015. That case was purely a political case. It was an NPP's internal election. But let me say that it was the hatred for Mr. Paul Afoko that got Gregory Afoko in that situation. Nothing apart from pure hatred. The NPP had gone into elections, in electing their national executives. Paul Afoko put himself up for elections as a national chairman. In that election, he was not the favorite of the Nana Akufo-Addo faction. In fact, Nana Akufo-Addo and his faction supported Ayesu, and also a faction supported Mr. Fedawari. They got divided attention, and Paul Afoko sneaked through by virtue of he consolidating his support base. Since then, he was never forgiven. And so the rift between him and the deceased upper East regional chairman of the party was an enough avenue for bad people who didn't like Paul Afoko, to capitalize on it and then do harm to the upper East regional chairman of the NPP. So it became so obvious, it fit, the whole scenario fitted into the narrative that you are having an issue, I'm having an issue with Motiti. Everyone knows that I have an issue with you. Then someone that hates me takes advantage of that to do harm to Motiti. Obviously, the conclusion will be that I perpetrated that. The matter went to court, and in the lifetime of President Akufo-Addo, the former president, the case went through the judiciary. It was, the special jury came in, they could not establish anything against them. What needed to happen was to allow them to go and sleep with their wives and family. On the contrary, they were rearrested and then tried again. Remember, Gregory had been behind bars in remand for almost 10 years. So if at the end of the day, it is established that it is matter do about nothing, who am I to say that I will not be happy? Because right from the beginning, some of us saw through the lens that this was just a mere political gimmick. They framed stories on that. That is why some of us were very surprised recently when Paul Afoko decided to go back, announced that he was going back to be the chair of the NPP. That was a very catastrophic decision, knowing very well that your brother has suffered in such a manner. What else would you go back to a party that didn't wish you well, that didn't want to see your face, that sacrificed your brother? You see, ever since he made that pronouncement, the name has gone into hibernation. Nobody even wants to listen to Paul Afoko again. Because when the people believe that you are on the right path, you never spoke in all those circumstances, you kept quiet, you walked on, as time vindicated you, and you come back and open your mouth and say, you still want to be with this organization, then there is a problem there. But I believe that Alande and Gregory Afoko must not allow it to rest there. They must sue the government for malicious prosecution.
Why did the prosecutors not show up consistently?
Because they didn't have any case. It was the same situation under the Eswal administration. Those that arrested him, they didn't have any proof. They framed up stories. And that is why he must, if you allow it to go, then it means that anybody can just arrest you if they don't like your face, and they just put you behind bars for almost 10 years, only for you to be, as it were, discharged, and then you go and sleep. Sue the state.
Okay.
For wasting your time. Can you imagine 10 years how much he has lost? Where is he going to start life from? The families he left behind. How is he going to, as it were, bring them again up? But someone that took that decision is chilling with the family. And that's the way we want to run this country. So it's a step in the right direction. I believe that it was so clear, except those that didn't want to know the truth. Fortunately, at that time, I was in the MPP. And those days, some of us spoke against it. We called the then candidate Kufuor out that what you were doing was not good as an adult. You don't perpetrate such a heinous crime against a colleague, a fellow human being.
And who were those advising Mr. Afoko to go back and bid for the party's chairman?
I am surprised. Whoever advised me has done a great deal of disservice to him. Has damaged his credibility. As for me sitting here, Paul Afoko does not have credibility before me again. No. For that singular act. He claims he consulted his advisors, his well-wishers, his family members. I want to ask Paul Afoko whether he consulted his brother Gregory Afoko. In the midst of all that he went through, because of you, nothing else but because of you.
Okay.
And you slap him in the face with that decision that you are going back. Going back to do what? Does it not even surprise you? You were voted for as the national chairman. You were removed with a stroke of pen by a few people at the party's headquarters. What else do you need to know that you are not welcome in that political party? The family might be disappointed in Paul Afoko for throwing his brother under the bus, for disgracing him, for letting him suffer in such a manner, only for you to come and tell us that you are ready to go and contest to be the national chairman of the MPP so that you are removed again. Is that what he wants?
Okay. Solomon, let me bring in the Honorable MP for Twifo Etimokwa for the NDC side who's joined the table, Honorable David T.D. Von D. Honorable, good morning. Yes, he's here.
I just came.
Yes. Good morning. Hope you're well.
You're looking really sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like you to weigh in on the discussion on the dismissed cases. What would you say about sentiments that this has added to the plethora of cases, the Finance Minister Atufosin's case, and the others that have been dismissed from the courts?
Good morning to our cherished viewers and my very good friend. Unfortunately, we had to run away from the MPP, decided to steal one of the P away to form a UP, weakening the MPP beyond recovery. Let me say good morning to all the people of Twifo Etimokwa. In fact, the Twifo Etimokwa is a true traditional, community.
Right.
And so the Twifo community is having Twifo Afashia Kesie. And so I would want to reach out to all people from Twifo to reach out to Twifo and go home. We started yesterday, it's running through today, tomorrow, until Friday. Saturday is the mega one, and Sunday will be a Thanksgiving. So if you're a Twifo born, I would want you to run home wherever you are through this medium, inviting you to quickly get back, rally around, Twifo and our chief, and Queen Mothers and everybody,
Right.
to celebrate Twifo in Twifo Afashia Kesie. So those of you who are outside, you reach out to all of you that you come back home. It is time to remember our culture and to remember our heritage, where we come from, and it is good for you and I.
Okay.
I mean, when Atuforsen's case that I so believe was frivolous, was, if you like, very mere political, game and political persecutions, and because nothing add up. At the end of the day, you see a prosecutor who is the state prosecutor himself, Godfred Dame, going to find evidence from an accused person, Jakba, calling him, trying to provide him so many goodies in order to lie against Dr. Atuforsen, just to play political, mischief and all that. We saw all these things, and when these kind of cases were dismissed, you saw the NPP, jumping up and down, making all kind of noise and all that. So for me, I know them. Afoko's case, of course, as an NDC, some of these things is they themselves who are kind of doing this to themselves. And for me, I thought that right from day one, there was no absolutely concrete evidence to kind of prosecute and to get the gentleman jailed. No, because you see, it's all been hearsay and all that. And again, I mean, knowing the MPP who they are, I mean, violence really permeates through them. And so it is one of the normal things they will do to them themselves. This is not the first time you've heard them. Ablekuma, you remember what happened? Waswagon, people were shot, people were, So for me, that's who they are. And I knew that the gentleman one day was going to walk away. And so for the brother to say he's contesting for MPP, chairmanship again, I think that perhaps he just want to go back to get the power for a payback. I mean, maybe.
That's your thinking.
That's because otherwise there's no reason, going back there, looking at all that they've done to you. I think that he just want to go get the power and to show them where power lies. I mean, so you realize a young man, they took his 10 years away from him, humiliated him, disgraced him, destroyed him. And, so for me, I think that the MPP have their case, they want to deal with it. I mean, that is a dead party already.
Was this case dismissed because there was thorough, proceedings done at the
I think that the MPP have been in power for 8 years. This matter happened right after they came to power, right?
No, before.
Before they even came to power, right? And so if there was any premier facie, any evidence, any, concrete evidence to prosecute and to, if you like, find him guilty, they would have done that. So all the prosecutors believe that there was nothing. Actually, Akufo-Addo was just trying to pay his enemies and back, and so they just played around with, okay, put him in remand and don't go to court, because if you go to court, you don't know anything you're going to say. Prosecutors are not coming to court. Okay, I joined the case. If politics, if they want to deal with you, they can,
They can manipulate the
I mean,
courts to
seriously,
deal with
I mean, so these are the MPP who we all know what they can do. So they did that, and actually Akufo-Addo, I believe strongly, really got what he wanted, paying his enemies. And you remember that Akufo never supported Akufo-Addo. So they have to deal with him now that I got the power. So for me, I think that maybe Afoko want to go back there, grab the power, and maybe also take a bite on his enemies. Maybe that's what they want to do. But hey, what do I care about that? I want to care about bread and butter issues. How His Excellency Mahama is actually shaping the fabrics of this country, economies of this country. Today, you realize that we are in December 2nd. This time around, there must be a lot of pressure on the dollar CD issue, right?
Right.
But even in as much as now people are traveling, looking for a lot of dollar, buying things for Christmas, festivity and all that, the dollar is still being controlled well. The CD is, is so strong. because we're spending properly, we are not engaging in any profligacy.
Not
Government
because
is
you haven't
actually
had any
putting-
major shock to
No,
keep you off your feet.
no.
That's why
No. Government is being so disciplined. Government is spending properly. The economy is doing so well. People are, moving up and down, doing their businesses. Things are going well. That's what we should be talking about. MPP is a dead party. I don't really see them coming to power any more or something.
Well, those are your
these are the things
sentiments.
we should be thinking about.
Okay.
Afoko and his people, he just want to grab that power. Maybe deal with his
okay.
enemies small. And that is for MPP.
All right. And on that note, let me just let our viewers know again that Alfred Thompson, who is supposed to represent the MPP side, who's former Deputy MD of NIB, supposed to be at the table. He's not here yet. And if he does get here, he'll join the conversations to bring in the MPP's voice. Let us look at the petitions which quite recently have been forwarded on the removal of the EC chair, her deputies, and the special prosecutor forwarded to the Chief Justice. I'm not sure a lot of Ghanaians see this as surprising because in quite recent times, there have been calls for axing the head of the special prosecutor on the cases that are in front of him. That finality hasn't been brought to those matters. The Minister of State in charge of government communications, Mr. Felix Kwakye Ofosu, confirmed that government received those petitions seeking the removal of the EC chairperson, her 2 deputies, and the special prosecutor, and that the petitions are now in the hands of the Chief Justice, Justice Paul Bafo-Boni, for further action. And these petitions were reportedly submitted by private citizens and alleging various forms of misconduct. In one of the petitions, the special prosecutor, Mr. Kizia Jabing, is accused of incompetence and abuse of office under Section 16 of the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 2017. Any petition for the removal of the special prosecutor must be evaluated to determine whether it meets the constitutional threshold for further action. And so these petitions to remove Madam Jean Mensah, her 2 deputies, Eric Bosman Asare and Samuel Tete, is centered on how the commission has been run and the need for accountability at the highest level. Solomon, I don't believe this comes as a surprise to you, does it?
Yes, to a large extent, because the thing is that as an electoral commissioner, for instance, you are there to, your mandate is to organize a free, fair, and credible election. If I were to ask you whether you saw the election 2024 as a free, fair, credible election,
It was not.
it was not. I mean, this morning, let's do the discussion. How did you see it? How did you yourself see it?
Because if it was not, I believe that we should be in the courts.
No, but we are a lot of places were in court. We were saved by grace in election 2024. We shouldn't take the freedom we are enjoying today as something that was engineered by the credible elections that were organized by the Electoral Commission.
What did she and her 2 deputies do?
A lot of things. Even if you were to recount from 2020, for the Electoral Commission to have denied a whole constituency,
Yeah.
Santro Kofi, Akpafo, Lolobi, denied them the opportunity of exercising their constitutional mandate. That should have been enough. He should have been gone up by 2021. But we allowed that. We allowed it to stand. She didn't see anything wrong with it. In this country, we have not developed the culture of people saying that we could not perform, so we have resigned. It's not part of our DNA. Where people are obviously not performing, they still stay on. You understand? Now, fast forward. Election 2024, before the elections, you saw what happened.
Right.
BVD machines, you were told, were missing. The Electoral Commission said nothing of that sort had taken place. Later, it was established that indeed it had taken place that we were told were found in Nsawam. They had told us in all their releases that the system that they have put in place was so robust. The robustness could not prevent 38 names of voters being transferred from Tamale Central and Sanarigu to Pusiga. You remember that issue?
Yeah, I remember. You expected an airtight situation where
Absolutely.
there were not a single lapse. It's a human institution.
When you come and tell me
it's a
that,
human institution. Even technology fails.
So it's a human. That's why we are taking people are petitioning that she should go, because she herself is a beneficiary.
How did she seek to benefit from these discrepancies?
No, I'm saying that she becoming the EC boss was as a result of someone being removed.
Right.
We could have considered your situation as a human institution. After all, they say to err is what? Human. There was a former DVA boss who told us that when monies were missing, said to err is human. If his monies were missing, would he have come to tell us that to err is human? So the truth of the matter is that on the Pusiga issue, it was enough for her to have vacated the position. She did not. She stayed on. Now, after the elections, as we speak, was it last week or so that we discussed the Pandai?
Yes, last week.
What necessitated the Pandai issue?
Rerun.
That the returning officer decided
Go somewhere else.
to go somewhere
For
against the provisions in the CI 127, against the constitution of the land.
Right.
The question is who appoints or select these returning officers. I have said that anytime there is an infraction in any electoral area, the returning officers or the district electoral officer must be prosecuted together with the EC boss.
You know that there are workers who are insubordinate when it comes to these things, regardless of how much training they have had and rules they have been given to abide by. They can still do what they
This
want.
morning we will have a problem if you want to play the devil's advocate. If someone is being insubordinate, why not sack the person? That even from your angle tells me that she must vamoose immediately. Total incompetence. We are talking about Ablekuma North. We are talking about Obuasi East. We are talking about Isawam, Tolon, Damongo. Look at the number of areas. And we have election 2028 to confront.
And per your analysis, why wasn't she removed? There was a precedent at the time. And
So,
you mentioned
I
all
am-
of
I
these
am
things that
doing
make
some-
her incompetent.
No, but I'm doing some investigations. I've called for a total commission of inquiry to election 2020, not even in election 2024.
2020.
Yeah, because I have a document in my hand that where the electoral commissioner is staying, there is a property adjacent, which used to be the property of Ghana Tourism Authority. The current chief of staff
Okay.
had occupied that property before. As we speak, that property has metamorphosed or has changed hands, has been transferred to the husband of the electoral commissioner in 2020.
Under
These
what,
are the documents. These are
under
the
what
documents.
grounds
Say it
was
again.
the
Absolutely.
Say it again.
That a property that is adjacent to where the electoral commissioner is staying, June of 2020, that property belongs to the Ghana Tourism Authority. That was where the current chief of staff was staying when it was the Ghana Tourism Authority. All of a sudden in 2020, that property has been transferred to the husband of the electoral commissioner from the Ghana Tourism Authority. The question this morning is, was that property transferred to the husband
legally or illegally?
legally or as part of what the considerations to rig election 2020? My election 2020 was rigged.
How was
Election
how was
2020 was rigged for President Nana Akufo-Addo. Quote me anywhere and you never be wrong.
how was acquiring that property an attempt to rig
Fantastic!
2020
All of a
elections?
sudden, that is why I have said that there has to be a commission of inquiry. Because I did my search and I realized that even the transfer, they did not capture that the property used to be the property of the Ghana Tourism Authority. It was transferred straight. This country has said that, you know, the people that you call opinion leaders, statement, they have sold the country. They have sold the country.
And this is a case that you're taking up to
I am
the
going
court
to take you see,
investigate.
So beyond
Okay.
the incompetence, we have to investigate the EC boss on corruption.
Okay. Well, granted, even though, you know, this is something you are going to
No,
do,
it's not granted,
you
it's something I'm
cannot,
going to do.
but so then you cannot say that she, you know, is incompetent.
I have just
Where's the-
I have
the case has
enumerated-
not- yes,
no, I've enumerated a number
that
of
you have
issues, from
evidence.
SAR to Pusiga to Pabnai to Obuasi East
Right.
to Tolon to Damongo to Sawam to Akwatia, everywhere there was
Yes,
conflict.
but
And I
until
have also
she's
told-
tried
Who-
by these petitions and all of what you're saying, which I believe is captured in some of these petitions, we cannot say that she's incompetent.
The OSP, myself, I sent a petition to this OSP that the former vice president, willingly, under no pressure, went to Kumasi, or for that matter, Ashanti region, and told the entire world that he single-handedly donated more than 300 brand new pickups to the NPP. You and I, the salary of the vice president is a public knowledge. I did the calculations. I realized that even if the entire 8 years that he was the vice president, he decided not to touch a city of his salary, he couldn't buy 10 of it.
Well, what are the reasons why the vice president is not under investigation for what you're accusing?
Absolutely. So the OSP, if I send you this petition, he has not even had the courtesy to even call me to say that, oh, we have received it and we are working on it.
Solomon, you know the OSP has a backlog of
He
corruption cases on his desk that he is investigating.
He has time to be doing
And
press
so-
conference to be telling you for the
Because
he has
he's
time.
investigating these issues.
What you see, that office was established to look into corruption and corruption-related offences, and to the extent of that, recover for the state what has been looted. Ever since that office was established, have you heard him recover anything to the state? I have given you a fine case. The very moment that the former vice president made that statement, you should have gone after him. You did not do it. I wasted my time, resources, my limited meager income to do this and give you.
Okay.
You are sitting on it. What about the kind of Oriata matter?
We still
That recently came to light where
being
he
investigated.
contacted all the state institutions to prevent Ken of Oriata from leaving the
he has
country.
brought the charges as well, and so
7
this
years,
is
by the time we
a
allow
running
people to charges,
case.
it's about 5 years. These are the ways and means they allow people to go with impunity. Someone stole body, plantain. The person is in Sawam. Someone stole Aponche, goat. The person is in Sawam. So the rich class.
How is the special prosecutor to blame for a justice system that, you know, does things the way you're
Oh,
saying?
then he must live there, because the last time he was also complaining about the justice system.
Because, well,
That the
you're
judges
saying-
were not even helping him. Remember that issue? When he organized the press conference and Kwanoma, he said the judges were not helping matters.
And now there's a new CJ, so maybe the justice system will work, you know, for him.
Kisi Ajabe will not help this country.
Okay, Solomon. Thank you. I just want our viewers to know that these are the sentiments and views of our guests on the show. It doesn't represent the thoughts of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Honorable Vande.
Yeah, right. Ojofe. Agbene Ojofe.
Solomon.
Well, you know, the petition to remove the electoral commissioner, Jane Adokwe Mensah, is that correct?
Right.
You know, been long overdue. And I don't think, I don't know why in Ghana people do not resign for their incompetence. You know, part of this world, when you do things and you realize that you yourself, you're so incompetent, you couldn't live by the laws and the oaths you took and all that, you will voluntarily, you know, resign, and to keep some dignity of yours. I remember one lawmaker in UK who came to Parliament, I think a little late to answer questions, resigned himself because he thought I had failed his people.
Does that mean that because there was a case against the finance minister, Richard Japa, he should also resign? These are cases that are yet to be proven in court that she's committed.
And looking at Jane Mensah's performance, right from the day she was appointed by Akufo-Addo, I thought that her history should have been wiped away from Ghana's electoral history entirely long ago. You know, you'll see an electoral commissioner who declared more than 5 results, you know, presidential results in the 2020 general election, gazetted all of them, and she's not worried whatsoever at all about it. And we allow that woman to still occupy that sensitive position of this country's history. And nobody cares about it. SAL was denied their constitutional right, fundamental constitutional right, by one woman, one person. And she's been allowed to continue till now. I think that the petitioners, I think they did so well, and I pray that we're going to carry these ones, a little quick, clear it off, and then focus on the things that we're supposed to do. The very moment that Jane Adokwe Mensah refused to answer questions at the Supreme Court about her stewardship, I realized that she had no integrity whatsoever occupying that position as an electoral commissioner. Because if you are given a responsibility as an individual to handle elections in this country, and there are petitions to the Supreme Court, and you are supposed to be the only returning officer of the presidential elections, and you can elect not to answer questions and to give an account on your stewardship as to what Ghanaians entrusted such sensitive position into, and she still walk around free.
Was that the agenda? The NDC wanted to remove her. So has this petitions made it easy for you?
I thought that from that time, I lost all confidence in her. Ghanaians lost all confidence in her. And I thought that she would have just resigned for not being able to put even figures together to declare just one result for one presidential elections. That alone, I thought that she should have resigned long ago to keep some of her, very little dignities, if she still have one anyway.
No, Vondi, she's not the first official to
I think that
head an institution where there have been issues.
Again,
hasn't
when
resigned.
her predecessor, Afarijan, was there, and Afarijan believed that he actually discharged his duties creditably according to law provided under our constitution, he willingly entered the Supreme Court to give an account on his stewardship. I don't know why it was difficult for Jane Mensah to do same, and that was the most low moment in her life as electoral commissioner. Then came the Ablekuma North election. What's the name? The Ayawasu Waswagon elections. One constituency under her watch, we saw all the brutalities that happened, where a commission of inquiry was established. You got her master Akufo-Addo even freeing people who perpetrated crime against even sitting members of parliament that they were provoked, and that is why...
Because they were found not guilty.
Because the commission found them culpable. Akufo-Addo issued a white paper clearing them, saying that a sitting member of parliament provoked them, and that is why they went ahead to slap him. You got all these. Look, there are some histories, I believe, if we could cut it and wipe it off our books, it would be good, because generations should not be learning and reading these things. That the commission of inquiry was established by law. There are recommendations that brought those perpetrators that should be prosecuted and be dealt with, be punished. You see a sitting president issuing a white paper, clearing them, and the singular reason they cited, my dear Titi, was that, the member of parliament provoked them, and Akufo-Addo endorsed violence again and said that is why they slapped him. All these things happen under Dukwe Jane Mensah. And she's still sitting there after denying a whole constituency member of parliament, Sal. She's still sitting there. And she couldn't resign by herself. Some of these things should not be things that our kids should be learning. Because our country deserves the best. Our country deserves better. Then comes Ajabin, who sang a beautiful song that we were applauding him for singing those songs. And you remember the Ankwa Noma Medime Kwaba Faria, and then met to me, unknowingly, he is allegedly playing to the gallery.
So you want him gone?
Allegedly.
Why has he stayed on for this long? He was in fine, Jan.
You see, that office was established constitutionally, and I think was given some level of tenure of office. He can only be removed through this process of petition and all that. And I'm sure that's why he's still been there. Otherwise, with the greatest of respect to him, he's a lawyer. I respect him to be a lawyer. You know, he's been a lecturer of the law, you know. But I believe strongly that his performance now is just making me feel that Akufo-Addo and his administration, they put him there because they knew what was going to come, so he could try and play, you know, the games for him. Little did I know, were you not surprised to hear that Iyoko and all the state agencies, the institutions, says that Ajabin never contacted them to help, you know, him bring Ken Ofori-Atta back into this country. But he was going everywhere saying that he have contacted Iyoko, the state institutions are not helping him to do his work and all that. I mean, I'm surprised. Can we be playing with this country like this, bringing people of this nature to be toiling with our future, our children? I have 4 kids, okay? And sometimes my fear is that what kind of country are we living for them? Are we building a country of dignity, a country built on truth, honesty for them, a country where we can sit back one day and say, we fought a good fight, and now our country is being built on honesty and truth.
Okay.
And that has been my worry.
Right.
And that has been my worry.
And
Must we bring people who will come and loot this country, destroy the fabric of this economy, destroy everything? Just, did you see the Ejapa deal? Could it be Ejapin was brought in to protect the Ejapa deal, the perpetrators of this crime, heinous crime, stealing and looting? So he can clear them nicely.
Okay, Honorable.
Is that the kind of... I listened to Martin Kpebu, and the account that he was giving got me frightened the more, because it made me feel that Ajabin being Ofori-Atta's lawyer before in itself, he was not even qualified to be able to deal with that guy.
Okay, and I ask again,
You know, so for me...
how is the NDC going to ensure that that office serves its purpose?
You see, it is not about the NDC, it's about the government who must ensure that whether you are NDC or MPP, that you must carry some high level of integrity to be able to occupy that position, because it is a very serious position that must go with integrity.
All right. Okay.
And that is my worry. And that is my worry. And that is my worry.
Okay.
And that is why I keep talking. Because you see why? We can't leave this country like that. We can't govern this country like that. Akufo-Addo's government, I think it's a government we pray we never had ever in this country.
Who are the we, Honorable?
I think that, well, I have some few more people who would have joined me
Okay.
to pray that this was a government that we shouldn't have ever have in our country's history. If we can cut it and clean it off, it would have been good for us. Today, they are regrouping. And you hear all the things they say today themselves. Somebody will say that, oh, we don't want to have a president who will come and say, motherfucker. Somebody will say, oh, they themselves, you know. I don't want to have a president who will say that he have arrested the dollar, and at the end of the day, the dollar is running and chasing him, and is running hard to scar. You know, you see another person who came and say, oh, me, I've been a vice president before, give me the country and I'll govern, I will make you steal more. You see another person who come and say, hey, me, what? Yesterday, I had one of them. He says, hey, me, when I come, I will increase your lifespan. You will live long in Ghana. I was like, this is God, man.
Well,
this is
with
God.
all
These are the people
indications,
who are grouping again, thinking
if
they want to come and take this country.
if livelihood is good, your
He
lifespan
said he was going
will
to increase your
increase.
lifespan.
Yes,
If you
if
are
things are
50
good
years,
and the bread and
if you are
butter
50
issues are
years,
good,
if you are
your
50 years,
lifespan would
he
increase.
said if you are 50 years, he will add 10 more years to reign. You see all kind of things because you want power. I
If
mean,
the ecosystem supports it, I believe it's
man.
possible. Okay, I want us to wrap up on the government accountability series
MPP.
that happened yesterday at the presidency. The Minister of Health took his turn to
God.
address the country, and he announced that 120% average increase in tariffs paid to the National Health Insurance Scheme service providers effective next year. And he did mention that the move is expected to boost the confidence of the service providers and improve services for subscribers. The Minister of Health, Mr. Kwabena Mintah-Kanu. Let's take a listen.
Ghana cedis. Beginning next year, we are going to increase the tariffs in the National Health Insurance to the service providers, because it is something that the service providers have been complaining about, that the tariffs we give them are unrealistic. And so government has taken the decision to increase the tariffs about 120% on average. And I believe this is going to be a game changer. Again, His Excellency the President has directed that beginning next year, we have to roll out what we call free primary health care. In addition to the curative, we'll be looking at enhanced promotive health care, we'll be looking at enhanced preventive health care, and that will give rise to the early detection of the diseases, not to even get to the complication stage. And some 1.5 billion Ghana cedis has been allocated for the free primary health care. And let me be quick to add that this will still fall under the National Health Insurance Scheme. We inherited some challenges with respect to the National Health Insurance in the agreement. And the contract was sole sourced. Now, for every month, Ghana government was and is supposed to pay $88,000 per center per month. $88,000 per center per month. So if you do the computation, we are paying more than, because we have 6 centers, so we are paying a little over $500,000 every month for the services of the drones. What is more interesting, and I think everybody needs to know, is the fact that in the beginning of this contract, the idea was that we were not going to use government of Ghana money to pay the services of the drones.
He noted that although the service was originally intended for emergency response and hard to reach communities, a recent review shows that only 12% of deliveries go to hard to reach areas, while emergency cases represent.
And yes, that's the Minister of Health addressing the government's accountability series. Solomon, you've heard of the upsurge for the National Health Insurance Scheme tariffs to support the service providers, because they've been saying that what the cuts they get is not realistic. And then you've heard of the zipline issue as well, $88,000 being paid every year to a center, and that shouldn't have been drawn from the consolidated account, is what the minister is saying.
So the minister must up the game by looking at the contract, and if anybody did anything wrong, they must prosecute the person. I mean, it's the taxpayers' money. I keep saying that anytime I come here and you people give me water, you would have paid tax. And when we mobilize all these tax revenues and give to a ministry to, as it were, use it judiciously, and someone decides that because he or she is smarter than all of us, he will go and do something against the law, against the wishes of the people of this country, we must not be embellishing it. You have identified the problem, Mr. Minister. The next move is that who signed the contract?
Right.
For us to be parting away with the $88,000 or whatever every month, when in fact it was supposed to be free. Last I heard someone telling the whole world that even the zip line, the drones, they were using to only transport condoms. Did you hear that?
No.
You haven't heard it?
No, I have not. I know it takes essential
It's not taking the same
supplies
essential
to
medicine,
very
it's
hard
condoms.
to reach areas.
Which are hard areas? Which are the hard areas that we can't reach in this country?
Rural communities of blood and medicine.
I came from a rural community. When we were growing up without zip line, how were we getting medicine?
Are you trashing
No,
an
no, no, no,
innovative
no.
approach?
I am asking
like
you a simple
what
question.
Dr. Baumia did
Ah,
by
you have never
the
visited
zip
your,
line.
you have never
You are
visited
trashing
you have
an
never
innov-
visited your village before.
Instead of building a digital economy
T.
that supports.
Have you ever visited your village before?
Yeah, I go there all the time.
How have you asked yourself how they were getting medicine when zip line had not coming through?
They got it, but it was through strenuous means.
The
The road network is terrible.
When the politician wants to steal from you, they give you all beautiful nonsense as a reason. See, now we are paying $80,000 or $86,000, $88,000 every month. For what? You understand? So the minister must up the game by calling out. And they did anything wrong against the law, we must prosecute them and go for our money. Me, I'm interested in the money.
Okay.
Because the money is sitting in people's pockets and they are telling them that they are smarter than everyone.
Okay.
You understand?
Right.
So that is a step in the right direction. That he will go to the aid of the service providers. You and I, when we are sick, we don't have the benefit of Kenneth Ofori-Atta, who was in charge of our payers, who went and borrowed more. But when he left office, instead of using the money that he borrowed to aid in the construction of modern hospitals.
They started the Agenda 111. These
Where is
were
the agenda?
modern
Why didn't you
hospitals.
attend any of the agenda?
This was an initiative
Office.
to
He decided to
modernize
go
the
to the Mayo Clinic. He was giving us agenda, but he decided to go to the Mayo Clinic.
Because Agenda 111 was not complete.
So the Confederation, the Kolibu that we attend, we are not human beings. The sovereignty of this country resides in the people. In Article 1. We that gave him the power are attending Kolibu and Confederation and Ridge hospitals. He that came to serve is attending hospitals in the US. Doesn't make sense to
How do you know if his condition was beyond the
No.
So
support of
the
these
ordinary
health
person,
institutions?
how many times
We all know that we have a health infrastructure deficit.
that
in
is
this
why he
country.
was supposed to invest our money wisely.
And he
To
did.
deal with that.
By starting with
If
Agenda
he did,
111.
why is he in Mayo Clinic? So me, I should be going to the local hospitals because I'm nobody. He is Kenneth Ofori-Atta.
Okay. Honorable Vundi, you have to wrap up on
let
this
me
for us.
applaud the health minister for a very wonderful initiative, and that's who we are. I mean, the NDC will always look at the most important and essential services that inure to the benefit of the Ghanaian people. I mean,
Right.
and so that's a good one. This zip line thing, okay? The more you dig around it, you will find the smell of the elephant. I mean, this is just another creation of avenue to loot. Why don't you rather create more access to healthcare, build a lot of cheap compounds, small hospitals in our villages?
That's being done.
No. You can find out. I mean, I'm coming from a very rural, area, so I know what I'm talking about. I just went to Cut Salt to build one for, one of my communities. I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so you remember the Sputnik vaccine? You know how much the MPP decided to steal this country for? I don't know why the former health minister is not, being called yet. Again, Kisi Ajabin, there to do the work for them, So for me, I mean, we need to clear the way for the good thing, the right thing to be done. And I'm sure that will get there soon. So let me just applaud the government, His Excellency Mahama, increasing the National Health Insurance levy for providers is a very good thing. I mean, health is most important. If you have no health, everything you have is meaningless. So for me, investment in health, is good, and I applaud the minister. He's a very humble gentleman. Akando is a very humble gentleman. He's a very hardworking. I remember when he was appointed, and some, supposedly MPP doctors were making noise that he's not a doctor. Why, he's not a medical person. Why bring him to be a minister on them? But he's proving everybody wrong. He's working so well, just like any other, all the ministers. I mean, I think that His Excellency Mahama's choices or ministerial appointments have been very exemplary, and I applaud all of them for doing well. Okay. Health is good, and the investment in health aspect facility. The Mahama Care thing. Anytime I remember Mahama Care, I remember Obama Care. I mean, this is very essential, and I applaud, him for hard work and very excellent initiatives. We'll get there. I promise we'll get there. Okay. You know why?
So you
because God is good.
You applaud the Mahama Care, but you dismiss the zipline innovation.
No, you have a situation where zipline. What's this zipline? They are bringing drone to carry medicine supposedly to areas. Why won't you rather build hospital close to the people?
They started the Agenda 111.
The Agenda 111. Listen. That is the most.
The country.
That is one of the most horrible performance of the MPP. Hold on. That's one of the most horrible performance of the MPP. Okay, After 8 years, the MPP could not say that they've built one hospital that is working. 8 years. 8 good years. How many hospitals did His Excellency Mahama build in 4 years? Okay? So this is one of the most low moments, the most horrible achievement the MPP would want to tie themselves with.
Okay, thank you.
It is just useless to mention it.
Thank you.
Okay, Agenda 111, mention one of them that is operational.